Our next speaker is Dr. Rajshri Ramakrishna. She is a dedicated disciple of Kalaimamani Veena Rajeshwari Padmanabhan, Sangeeta Kala Acharya Sri P.S. Narayan Swami, and Sangeeta Kala Acharya Srimati Suguna Vardacharya. Her PhD research was conducted under the guidance of Dr. S.A.K. Durga. Dr. Rajeshwari has contributed to academia with papers, articles, and projects for UGC and All India Radio. Under her guidance, 7 scholars have been awarded PhD degrees from the University of Madras. Dr. Rajeshwari currently serves as an associate professor and head of the Department of Indian Music, University of Madras. Dr. Rajeshwari.
With such erudite scholars yesterday and today, I don't know what justice I'm going to do. At the outset, I wish to thank the esteemed seminar organizers of the Adyar Library and Research Center for giving me the opportunity to speak on the topic musical forms in Carnatic music. I will be discussing the role of musical forms throughout different periods and their essential place in classical music. Now, what do we understand? I'll directly go into the topic. And former head of the department, Dr. N. Ramanathan, has extensively worked on the history of the musical forms. So I'm just voicing his theories because I have not done an in-depth study to the extent that anybody else could have done, because he has exhausted it completely. So I'm just putting forth whatever he has done and what I have understood by the history of musical forms. Now, what do we understand by musical forms? And also these slides, I have just put together some keywords for you to just keep track of what I am saying. Okay, what do we understand by musical forms in Carnatic music? When we talk about musical forms, what comes to our mind? We immediately think of forms like Geetam, Varnam, Kirtana, Tillana, Padam, Javali, Tarangam, Ashtapati, Tripugal, and many more forms. The next question is, what is the context in which these forms are being sung or used? Are they performed at a concert, during music or dance performance, or on other occasions? To understand this, we'll go into the history now. The first musical form that we could think of is the Samagana. And what are the technical terms here? They are used are Krishta, Prathama. Now these are the names of the swaras that are used. But again, the specific intervals are not mentioned. And by the reciting, when you listen to the Samagana chanting, you can actually know, musicians will know what is the difference or the intervals, but there is no mention of it in any text or anything. Now, what is the basis of Samagana? It is primarily from Rigvedic hymns, and they use syllables like au, ho, that is to extend the words of the Rigveda or the verses of the Rigveda. They have extensions. And how are the syllable durations measured? They are called as Hrisva, Dirgha, Pluta, and Vriddha. These are the only terms used for the syllabic extensions. And what are the text changes? That is Vikriti. This includes various alterations like Vikara, Visleshana, and Sthoba. Now, tempo is known as Vritti, and which is similar to the Laya of later times. That is Dhruta, Madhyama, and Vilamba for fast, medium, and slow tempo. So this is what we understand from the Samagana presentations. And this is mostly it is only sung during occasions, specific occasions. It is not like you practice a kirtana every day, morning, evening. No, it is not like that. So it is the form of presentation is, you have the introductory praise by the prastotra, main part by the udgatra, that is, he is the person who performs. Then these are they are joined in by pratihatra, sometimes in two parts. Then the recession. So this is, you have the nidana, the coda by three priests, sometimes followed by the om. So you have how people can join in, and who is the main performer, who is the main singer. So you have, there is a hierarchy when the samagana is performed. So the summary of the sama form: survival and variation is, it's the oldest genre, performed by various styles across India. How is it preserved? Uncertain if original musical structures are still intact. Over a period of time, there have been a lot of changes. Then there is an emphasis of melody over text when it comes to samagana, whereas Rigveda emphasizes the text, samagana emphasizes melody over text. It is defined by its melody. Now, what is samagana is Rigvedic text stretched beyond the original meter. And for our understanding as musicians, it lacks the time framework tala seen in other traditions. So this is this tala which is now starts binding from the beginning and defines a form as we come to the later periods. Next is what we have is the Gandharva. Now this is, what is Gandharva? It is associated with the celestial beings, and detailed works like Dattilam and Natya Shastra have explained this. And now what is Natya? It is a composite art combining music, drumming and mime, that is Gana, Vadya and Natya. Each component is an independent art contributing to the unified art form. Now Abhinava Gupta's commentary Abhinava Bharati provides profound insights on Gandharva. Distinctions and roles of these arts are relevant to the study of aesthetics. With Natya, there has to be rasa. So that is the main purpose of Natya. And when you come to Natya again, we have forms, musical forms or composed forms for Tata Kutapa. That is, you have the musicians, singers, players of string and wind instruments creating melodic structures. So you have compositions for that. Then Avanadha Kutapa is drummers creating syllabic structures. And the Natya Kutapa, that is art or actors with movements borrowed from dance or nritta. So now what are the key elements in Natya? You have the Vadya, the independent arts, that is you have drumming, music, all those things. Then you have the preliminaries like the Purvaranga, which showcase independent facets of music, drumming and dance before the drama. So again you have compositions which have to precede, which have to come after. So there is a very codified structures for everything. And what is the aim of Natya? It aims for rasa, and Nritta is for shobha or for beauty, and Gandharva music aims for spiritual benefits. You always go back with a message. Once the Natya or performance is over, you go back with that feeling, feeling of good, or what I would say is a fulfilled feeling. You go back. So that is the purpose of Gandharva, or the music that does to the Natya. So now we have lot of forms. Gandharva has many musical forms. They are the Geetakas, the Dhruvagana, Nirgitas. So just for an example, what is this Nirgita? It consists of instrumental, that is you have the Vadya, and the vocal part, that is the Dhruvas, the part. And the vocal part uses meaningless syllables arranged metrically. See, all this is in theory. We actually do not know how it was practiced, but then we can understand the whole magnitude of the whole thing because it has been completely codified. So I will talk about, in the last I will tell you about, see, whatever is over, past is over. How best, we cannot reconstruct something that is past. We can try to reconstruct it in a way where we are trained in a particular manner, right? We have, from the oral tradition, we have learnt music, how it has to be presented. We have been taught grammar of a raga. So whatever we have, the knowledge that we have accumulated by learning, we try to apply on a form of the past and try to present it in the best manner that we think is the best manner. And we try to make whoever is the listener, we try to make them also understand what we are trying to communicate. So, but it can never become the original which existed in the past. So this summary provides an overview of the essential aspects and structural elements of Gandharva music as discussed in the text. Now the slide 3. Okay. From Sangeeta Ratnakara onwards, Sangeeta, that is Desi and its components, we come to Sangeeta Marga versus Desi. So, Marga is understood as Bharata's traditional theatre. Desi is treated systematically in Sangeeta Ratnakara by Sarangadeva. So from that point onwards, they would treat it as Desi. Now, the term Sangeeta had not fully acquired its modern meaning of music. Today when we say Sangeeta, we say music is termed as Sangeeta. But then again, Sangeeta was Gita Vadya Nritya. So Nritya in Desi, dance has no representational element. Vadya involves avanatha, compositions known as Vadya Prabandhas. Now, what is Gita and what is Gana? Again, Gita is not the Gita that we understand now. Gita is a common term for songs. All songs were commonly known as Gita in the system. Okay, then you have something called Jati Gita. Now, Jati Gita represents Gandharva. So you have Gandharva and Gana. First we had Marga and Desi. Now it is Gandharva and Gana. Now, if Jati Gita represents Gandharva, Alapti and Prabandha, it belongs to the Gana. So this, maybe because it was evolving and it was getting a form, so it had more creativity aspect, or the creativity, or it was something that was still forming, maybe that was classified under Gana, and that which already had a representative form was termed as Gandharva. So that's what I understand of this period's Gandharva and Gana. In Bharata's definition, Gandharva is made up of Swara, Tala and Pada. Sangeeta Ratnakara's definition, Gita is a pleasing organization of Swara or tones, excluding Tala and Pada. So actually when you look at the connotation of the words now, understanding the past, there the connotation seems to be different. So, and again, Jati Gitas were simple structures without sectional organizations. Okay, now in the Desi Gana forms, we had the Nibaddha and the Anibaddha. Nibaddha were the well-bound compositions by Vagyakaras. Anibaddha were the open forms which were created during performance. Okay, now Prabandha is a closed form known as Vastu and Rupaka, defined by sections Dhatu and Anga. Sections include Udgraha, Dhruva, Abhoga and Velapaka. Varieties are 8 types of Suda Prabandha, differing in section organization, text and tala. Raga is not prescribed, the melodic structure is left to the composer. Now, what were considered to be music for entertainment during that period were the Shuddha Paddhati, which describes the entertainment music where a dancer cum singer performs and sings to the Prabandha. And Gaundali Vidhi is based on the Salaga Suda, involves Raga Alapa, Salaga Prabandha, and Rupaka Alapti representing the Anibaddha aspect of Gana. So Prabandha is the Nibaddha, and the Gaundali Vidhi, which is, or the Gana, is known as the Anibaddha, that is the open. Yeah. So therefore, Anibaddha is also consists of Alapti, which includes Raga Alapti and Rupaka Alapti. Alapti forms are prescribed in procedure but shaped by the musician during performance. So there is a structure that has been codified and laid. It is also described like a form, but it is left to the musician to perform during a performance. And the melodic structure of Alapti spans 3 registers, mantra, madhya and tara, and progresses through 4 stages. Movement is ascends from the lower to the higher register and returns without pronounced rhythm or meaningful text. And this can be vocal or instrumental. Kinnari is the string instrument, that is the veena. The present day veena was known as the kinnari in the earlier form, and vamsha is the flute. So this can be performed on these 2 instruments also. And so I think this is about this slide. Yeah. No, even the Chaturdandi comes there. Yeah, sorry, the previous slide. In the post-15th century period, the format of Prabandha evolved into the Chaturdandi style described in Venkatamakhi's Chaturdandi Prakashika. This form marked a shift from music associated with dance to a purely music-based form, which is Chaturdandi, which means 4 pillars, including Alapa, Thaya, Gita and Prabandha. Now, Alapa, you have 2 types described by Sarangadeva, Raga Alapa and Rupaka Alapa. In the Chaturdandi tradition, only Raga Alapa is mentioned. Structured into multiple sections such as Akshiptika, Ragavardhini, Vidari and others, with Venkatamakhi providing detailed descriptions for this. Examples found in manuscripts show variations between vocal and instrumental versions when it comes to Alapa. Okay, Thaya comprises 2 sections. You have the Edipu and Makarani or Muktai. It is described as a melodic organization built from phrases of 4 notes. So, in Alapa it is more expansive, whereas Thaya is very restricted movement as far as the space is concerned. Between 4, it is built within 4 notes. Not clear if Thaya was meant exclusively for instruments. This is not clear because okay. Gita, this includes Salaga Suda Prabandha similar to those from the Sangita Ratnakara period. Suladi songs came to represent Gita in this tradition. So when you are talking of Gita, we are talking of Suladis. Prabandha covers all earlier Prabandhas including the Shuddha Suda and the Ali. The Salaga Suda Prabandhas were likely likely to have been elevated to this category in this Chaturdandi. In summary, the Chaturdandi format signifies a transformation in musical presentation focusing on a structured, purely musical form that became prominent in the post-Sangita Ratnakara period. So the theatre part was completely excluded during this period. So this existed as a separate musical form. Now, slide 4. Now, during this period, after Chaturdandi,
Which is
what we are doing now, yes, the most prominent classification, time is after the 16th century. We have the Kalpita, which is the pre-composed, corresponds to the Anibaddha of the Desi period, and Manodharma, improvised musical structures which are shaped during performance. So you're trained, and based on your training, you shape the Manodharma part when you are performing live. So, yeah, I think you can go to the next slide. Now this I have taken from Dr. N. Ramanathan's paper, where he talks about the melodic texture. He uses these words syllabic and mellifluous. I'll be telling you what he means by that. And these are the musical forms. You have Swarajati, the Tanavarna, Padavarna. When he talks of the syllabic, he says Padavarnam is partially syllabic and partially it is mellifluous. Kirtana and Padam are completely mellifluous. So, I think okay. Now what is syllabic is regular stresses and structured rhythmic rhythm is there. And Kalpita, the Swarajati, okay. Mellifluous is stretching of syllables, irregular rhythms and variable speeds. So these are all incorporated into the mellifluous fluid style of singing. Whereas in the syllabic, it is regular stresses and structure. For example, when you sing Tanam also, you will find that kind of a takadimi. Anam tadanam 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 anam ta. So you will have an apparent sarvalagu underlying rhythm which is going on. Okay. Sectional organization is most forms have sections, Pallavi, Anupallavi, Charanam, with the Pallavi acting as the refrain. Now, what are the forms which take this structure are the Swarajati. In the Swarajati, the Charanam is a collection of passages, each followed by a Pallavi refrain. So this is also a format of Swarajati which is prevalent. Tanavarnam and Padavarnam, Anupallavi follows Pallavi without a break. Charanam has a secondary refrain line called a Yettigada Pallavi. In Kirtana and Padam, follow the Pallavi, Anupallavi, Charanam, Pallavi structure. Padam is used in Bharatanatyam dance. Kirtana includes additional features like Sangati, Madhyamakala Sahityam, Chitta Swaram, Swara Sahityam. So, this is about the forms. I think most of you will be familiar with these, the structure of these forms. Now, melodic characteristics in the Pallavi, the movement is mostly in the middle register, in the Madhyama middle register. Anupallavi ascends to the upper register, mostly or usually this is the format. And in the Charanam, it varies by form. Swarajati's Charanam has increasing melodic range across passages. Varnam's Charanam includes a syllabic secondary Pallavi or the Yettigada and associated passages. So with this I will just demonstrate this Abhogi Varnam, where it is Yavari Bodha Nagini. It starts on the Madhya side, goes to the Mandra and comes back. Hila Uje Seura. So this is the Pallavi. So this kind of goes to the Mandra and defines the Madhya style. Then the Anupallavi Java Muga starts on the Tara style and explores starts on the Tara Shadja. It also explores the Mandra style and goes up to also explores the Tara style. So this is the general structure of a Varnam or a Kirtanam, where the introductory part establishes the Mandra, the Madhya and the Mandra. The Anupallavi establishes the Mandra and the Tara, and then there is a complete summarizing in the Charanam. This is what happens. So in summary, the post-Chaturdandi period in Karnataka music saw the establishment of diverse musical forms with distinct structural and melodic characteristics reflecting a rich tradition of both pre-composed and improvised music. In the next lecture, Dr. Hemalata will be talking about Tala, but I will just give when we are talking about this texture, this is a very important concept here. I think the next slide. This is the Manodharma. What is happening to Manodharma when it comes to the syllabic and the mellifluous. you have in the Tanam is syllabic. Neraval, first speed is mellifluous, but the second speed becomes syllabic. In Kalpanaswara, partially it is syllabic and partially it's also mellifluous. In the first column, it is mellifluous. Like you incorporate the gamaka or the embellishments of the gamaka. For example, Gari Gama Padama. So here the Bhairavi element or the Gari Gama Padapa Mani Dapa Magarisa. This will come in the second speed where it becomes syllabic. But when you sing Bhairavi in the first speed, it is mellifluous. And a lot of our musical forms are also classified based on the content of the, for example, Padam is Shringara, so it is called Padam. If it is Bhakti, it is called Kirtana. So it is the emotion which decides to which form it belongs sometimes. And when it has both Sargam and the Swara and Sahitya, then we classify it as Swarajati or a Varna. If Swarajati is if it has Shringara, then it becomes Swarajati. If it is Padavarnam, Bhakti, and it's a combination of both. So sometimes it is also the rasa of the composition or the bhava that you have in the composition decides to which form it is classified. But Kirtana, it incorporates all types of textual material including Sangati, Madhyamakala Sahitya, Swara Sahitya and Chitta Swaram. So all these are features of a Kirtana. Yeah, I finished this also. Okay. So I think at this point itself, if there is something you all need to ask, can I give a 5-minute break now and then I will go to the last conclusion? Is that okay? Slightly different from. Okay. Okay. Fine. So then I would actually like to conclude after this because I want you to listen to I will give my conclusion and then you can the summary focuses on Kalpita forms, but Manodharma forms characterized by improvisation is what is most key and most important to Carnatic music. Because finally it is, you're talking about the bhava, the rasa, whatever. So when you have so many musical forms, so what is it that we are conveying? We are actually conveying the raga in different forms, in different tempos, in different emotions. We are trying to get all the emotions, possible emotions out of a raga. So the raga is the key element of any form, basically. So what is an alapana? It is an elaborate non-rhythmic melodic structure dominated by vowels and extended syllables, mellifluous with some syllabic portions, not complete by itself, usually followed by a kirtana, tanam or pallavi. This is what we understand of alapana. What is tanam? It is a form of improvisation with syllables like anam, ta, tanam or whatever. It exhibits a pronounced rhythm performed after alapana and before a kirtana or pallavi. So to say, in the ragam tanam pallavi, before a pallavi you sing the tanam. But when you play veena, for example, we play tanam before a kirtanam also. Niraval, it is improvisation on a theme with meaningful text set to tala. It has two stages. First, mellifluous with multiple speeds. Second is uniformly high speed and syllabic. Sometimes features slow syllabic sections at the end of the first stage. Then Kalpana Swaram is improvised passages of music using sargam, ending at a theme's starting point in the tala cycle. It has again, Kalpana Swaram has two stages. First is slow, uneven in texture. Second is high speed and it is syllabic. now I'd like to conclude on the musical form. Historical development is musical forms from Samagana to modern South Indian art music have evolved through codification. Forms like Jati Gita are presented in notation without any abstraction. Context in which they are performed context influences the form, with drama and dance forms less strictly bound by melody, time and text rules. Serious art music, or Carnatic music as we call, conforms strictly to musical rules. Sections play a significant role in defining a musical form. Examples include Pallavi, Anupallavi and Charanam. Forms prescribe melody, rhythm, temporal framework, tala and text. Specific prescriptions vary across different historical period and musical forms. What Gita meant earlier is different from what Gita means now. And textual material is two primary types. You have meaningful and meaningless. Meaningful text in art music is often devotional. Non-musical is the sargam, which has been used from ancient times to the present. Now, raga is the most highlighted factor of the South Indian musical forms. Raga, an abstracted element from concrete melodic structures, extends the scope of musical form today. So what is presented is raga in its grandeur. I'll be playing a small video clipping. Thanks to Suchitra, she has edited it beautifully. It is from a long video. I have I've taken a 4-minute clip. Please listen to this, and you can go back to the YouTube and see they have 2 parts of this. It is known as edicts. Ashoka inscriptions. The inscriptions are in the central eastern parts of India, and the language is Prakrit, using Brahmi script, and it is found in the northwest, Kharoshti, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing correct, Greek and Aramaic. This particular one is in Girnar, Junagadh, which is in Gujarat. The performer is T.M. Krishna.
Samavayo
So this is text from the past interpreted by this artist. Choice of ragas were Kapi, Shubhabanturali, Mohanam and Desh. Now again the structure of the ragas that he has presented are not very old in terms of, it does not have a very long history. So singing style is mostly plain note, where he has not he's only concentrating on the Shruti and the blending with the Nadam, than exhibiting prowess in terms of too many embellishments and gamakas and fast and slow phrases. No, he has set a pace for that. So the philosophy is his, why he has chosen those ragas and the way it is presented. If you know the Rabindra Sangeet, how it had developed was, Tagore did not want too many complications when it comes to music. He wanted it to just reach and many people to sing, more and more people to sing, than complicating it with too much of grammar and involving a lot of. So it was in Bengali and it was mostly plain notes with just glides, and glides are most important gamaka, which immediately appeals to, and whether it is happiness or it takes you, some are so melancholic that it takes you to the past, you get all your nostalgia, your childhood, it comes back to you. So the choice of ragas, why a person chooses, is to express maybe his state of mind is what we think, but I think it goes through a whole gamut of emotions when it is presented. So it is for the listener to, you know. So why a particular, this is the question about reconstruction or trying to, we can never say that we are faithful to what we learned from a guru. We have that our element or our training and our sensibilities coming into performing that form that we are singing. So it is each individual's form when it comes to me. So with that, I think if you have some questions. Radha ma'am, for giving me this opportunity, because one is because we were able to listen to all the scholars speaking, especially this is the first time I'm listening to Keshav sir speak. So now I will go back to your works, and maybe I have been seeing the Everyday's Krishna. I have friends who are very your bhaktas, I would say, because they keep forwarding in the WhatsApp. But namaskar.
That was a wonderful tracing of the involvement and the development of Carnatic music from Samagana, from the Vedic times, and connecting it from Samagana to today. And then to say that in the case of Gandharva, when it is seen that it combines Gana, Vaidya and the mind and the rasa, and the purpose of the Gandharva music is to go away from that Natya performance with a sense of fulfillment, and we have had it, ma'am. Thank you very much today after hearing you. And we would request Ms. Nancy Sequest to kindly honor you with a small compliment.